British scientists have created a 3D printed replica of a cancerous human liver, which doctors can use to practice operations. The prototype organ is made of a combination of synthetic gels and fibres, and it's the first of its kind. Researchers at Nottingham Trent University used scans and images of an anonymised patient's organ and were able to replicate it by using various layers and different materials. Let's speak with Richard Arm, who's designer of the liver from the School of Art at Nottingham Trent University. Richard, afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
So before we get into the business of how this works, firstly, congratulations. This is incredible work that you and the team have clearly been up to, unless it's just you, and I'm crediting other people wrongly there. But nonetheless, this is clearly a step forward in the right direction. So you used a human prototype to a patient's organ to base this on. What happens from there? What is it made out of? How do you replicate an organ? Talk us through
it. So that's correct. There's a team of us that were involved in the research. There's researchers that characterized the liver tissue. So that's kind of one of the ways that we started the work, was to understand how we could kind of replicate the tactility of the organ. So what does it feel like to handle and to do the surgery, which sort of led to us to choose and develop the specific materials that we made the organ from. But then, of course, you're right, we take the patient data, and then we strip back each one of the tissue types. So the vasculature, the body of the organ,
wow,
and the tumor itself. And then we 3D print those components, and then we use post-processing techniques that we've been developing at Nottingham Trent University to be able to reproduce these using the materials that we've characterized with the sort of the high definition fidelity that you see on the scan data.
Wow. So this isn't just, because in my head, if you wanted to teach a surgeon, you take a bit of old Play-Doh, mould it up nicely and say, off you go, son, get your scalpel out, give it a go. This is obviously something far more refined than that. This looks like a liver. When you cut into it, would it give you the same kind of sensation and sense of force and all of those elements that one would assume are required?
Yeah, that's correct. The main focus of the research really was to be able to produce something that the surgeon was able to rehearse the surgery on. So they'd take the patient data, we'd print the copy, and then the surgeon would practice on that patient's surrogate organ that we've created until he's proficient and confident enough to go ahead and do the surgery. So this would be more valuable for patients that have kind of quite complicated tumours that normally perhaps wouldn't be operated on, and would give new opportunities to those patients who perhaps wouldn't be able to be suitable.
That's astonishing, because once in a while, I've watched those documentaries where a surgeon says, look, this operation is very difficult. I'm sort of 80% sure I could do it, but there's always that 20% we're not sure. This is at least a step in the direction of addressing that area of concern, because it allows the surgeon to carry out a procedure on a complete replication of that patient's organ in all its forms.
Yeah, exactly. So this is really the start of the research, and the technology and the methodology that we've used is really just in its infancy in this. There's a lot more work that we need to be doing, and hopefully we'll be able to proceed with that in the next couple of years and advance the models to become more realistic and include more of the vasculature and more of the surrounding anatomy, which is part of the difficulties of the surgeon is actually accessing the tumor and being able to use not just the body of the organs, but also trying to manipulate the organs into the right position to be able to get access to it. But what our model does, it actually adds another dimension to that, because we've got the vascular system. It means that he can go into the blood vessels with a camera and the tools, so they can practice excising the tumor from inside the blood vessels.
That's incredible. And I guess the obvious question that comes out of this, Richard, is how long are we before we get to a point where we can print an actual functioning organ?
I guess if the funding's there and the the specialists are able to spend the time on it. That's really what we need is people who have the knowledge, not just the scientific knowledge, but also the craft knowledge that is kind of being lost in the schools of making and the principles of being able to use tools like 3D printing and craft processes to be able to enhance what we already know about science and being able to kind of push forward with that.
Which is incredible. And I mean, I mentioned Play-Doh at the beginning of this. I mean, there's a serious side to this, of course, because, people are, in the past, when people are replicating things, all manner of moulding materials and clays would have been used to achieve precisely what you've done today in a far more advanced form.
Yeah, that's certainly where I started, bit Play-Doh, sitting on my mum's kitchen table with the...
I should try the Play-Doh ice cream parlour. It's fantastic. I was playing it only 2 days ago with my little boy. Richard, thank you. Mr. Richard Arm, who is, of course, the man behind all of that design of the liver, from the designer of the liver from the School of Art at Nottingham Trent University. He designs organs and parts of the body, and his name is Mr. Arm. Isn't that great? I love that.